Welcome, everybody, to the second After Hours podcast episode. I'm joined today by this IFS superstar, Marcel Ausan. Did I say that correctly?
Yes,
Oh,
perfectly.
perfect. Welcome to the stream, man. How are you doing?
Yeah, doing good. Thanks for having me, Rob.
No,
How are
man.
you?
Yeah, I'm fine. I'm fine. Thank you. As of recording, the previous podcast has only been out 2 days or 3 days. It's been insane, actually. I wasn't expecting
So
so much
you're on a
traffic.
roll, huh?
Yeah, well, this is it. Like you have to keep going, right? You have to keep going, even though I've like whatever I feel right now, I just have to keep going. It's I guess that's momentum for you. But dude, please enough about me. But talk to me about yourself. First of all, by the way, guys, Marcel has launched. You've also just launched your YouTube pretty recently, if I'm not mistaken. Um,
Yes. Last week I launched
last week.
my YouTube channel. Yeah.
Let's go. So we're in the batch of November. November YouTube like launches. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, let's have a look at that. Let's just have a quick look at that before anything else, really, I think it's pretty cool what you're doing. I mean, as far as I know, right? I haven't seen um much YouTube like this. If that makes sense. Um at least like not that showcases so much.
Yeah.
um yeah, talk to me about your thoughts on this, like as a content creator, is it just something that you thought was missing from the market? um
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Thanks for giving me the opportunity to do that, Rob. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff being published on YouTube. Yeah, but when you try to, for example, let's say you want to learn IFS,
mhm,
the look and feel, see how easy it is to work with it. Yeah, I felt that there was this
gap.
content gap that was missing. You can find pretty general things about IFS on YouTube.
Mhm,
Yeah, also the guys from IFS will post occasionally things that are new in new releases. Yeah,
mhm,
maybe some PowerPoints, but it's rarely that you see IFS Cloud in action presented by someone. Yeah, so I try to
mhm,
take like a diligent approach, starting from scratch. In this case, I'm starting with supply chain. It's supposed to be some tutorials for beginners.
mhm,
Yeah, if you are trying to learn how IFS Cloud works, yeah, then have a look at the channel. I'm starting with IFS supply chain, all the
mm,
basics, covering all the basics, starting from customer creation, part creation, going through customer order registration, managing shipping, also managing warehouse activities via Vadaco or warehouse data collection or IFS Scanit, native Android app. Yeah, so a lot of good things. And also, I plan on extending this. Yeah, who knows how far I can get it to. Of
mhm.
course, by no means this is not a competition for IFS Academy. Yeah? Shout out
Yes, shout
for
out to
the for the guys
yeah, yeah,
for the
yeah.
guys at IFS Academy. They are doing quite a good job, but there's not a lot of free content out there. Yeah,
No.
in order to learn how IFS Cloud works. Yeah? And um, in the past, with my experience with the IFS partner, yeah, I built in-house the same video library more or less for the internal consultants, but probably I will get to that in a bit. Yeah, but for now, everyone watching, please feel free to,
Like and subscribe, everybody.
yeah, like and subscribe. Yeah, you know the drill.
Yeah, yeah,
Maybe
yeah.
you find something that would be useful for you,
Yeah,
and over time this video library will grow. Yeah, for sure, and I
yeah.
will touch also on more advanced topics.
Oh, that's so perfect, man. How we've almost started together. You should have given me a heads up. We should have launched together. That would have been great. But see, this is the funny thing as well, right? We didn't know of each other, um, you know, like till about a couple of days ago as well, of as of
Yeah,
recording.
yeah.
And this is like the best thing about this for me is it's just getting to meet you and members of the community. And it's funny how we're not even in direct competition because I'm doing podcast style and you're doing direct training almost and the look and feel of IFS, right? Like if anyone hasn't seen IFS before, they'll be able to actually look at it. Maybe as you've timed it as well. You've done advanced, you've done beginner. So it's almost like people can be like, oh, okay, even in the slowest time possible when someone's explaining, this is how long it takes to, I don't know, raise a customer order.
Yeah.
But as we know as well, though, there's lots of permutations and scenarios that you can really go crazy on in IFS, and that's the thing. It's a knowledge base built up over time, worked on by hundreds, if not thousands, of people. Like, right?
Yeah.
That's an ERP.
And that's also one of the challenges that I'm having when I think about what the next video should be. Yeah, because you can go so deep into the trenches, but
Yes.
then you've lost your audience if you're
Yes.
addressing beginners. Yeah, and you
Yeah.
start by saying, okay, you can also do this scenario and that. So you
Yeah.
need to slowly start to build
Yeah.
up your foundations and then move upwards.
So let's talk about you right now, and let's zoom out from this, because of course this is such a juicy topic in itself, content creation. And like, but I'm sure, and I'm sure a lot of people have been thinking. A lot of people have said like we've been thinking about launching, but I think we need some more from, not just the partners in IFS themselves, but we need people that, like you, like your consultant. I'm an internal customer right now. I'm working solely for one company. How do we champion what people really want and need? And that's our interpretation. For me, it's the podcast, an honest one. Um, I think I only have one rule in my stream, is to not mention names. I guess I've sent this to you. Is it's just to protect, unless it's obviously positive, then feel free. But if we're gonna navigate the juicy topics, um, yeah, we wanna. I guess just respect for the ecosystem, um, but yeah, man, like congratulations. Like honestly, I think um it's definitely satisfying in many levels, right? You learn more about the product itself, an appreciation of it, and also teaching it, right? You get to really embed it to yourself. So yeah, I'm gonna be watching, for sure. But yeah, so in that case, like I said, like literally just met you today. Seen you sort of everywhere, and we're gonna talk about the community, IFS community site, forum, um, LinkedIn, and wherever else. Like, I see you post everywhere. But tell me about yourself. That Yeah, that you want to share. Like, get to know you after hours.
Yeah, sure. So my name is Marcel Ausan, as you mentioned. I'm based out in Romania.
Mm-hmm.
So 2 hours time difference between
Yeah,
the two of us.
yeah.
So you're after hours. I'm close to going to bed.
To bed hour. Is it like 9 o'clock?
Before bed.
Yeah. Cool. No, but still, definitely time for a
Yeah,
beer, right, or something. I'm
yeah,
I'm
yeah, for
making
sure,
sure I'm awake right now. I have a coffee, but yeah. Go ahead.
for sure. Yeah, so I've started in this ERP space about 13 years ago. Initially, I
Mhm.
started off with working for a big oil and gas corporation,
Mhm.
working in their ERP support department. And there I was working with Oracle
Mhm.
ERP. So it was called e-business suite at that time. Now
Mhm.
they rebranded it in the cloud version. It's called Fusion, Oracle Fusion.
Right. I lose track, but
Yeah, I
yeah.
spent like 5 years in that area. And then I moved on to, let's say, greener pastures. And I landed the job at a German automotive company.
Mhm.
And there they were using IFS internally. And they
Mm.
had IFS 7.5 for some German sites and IFS 8 for some international rollouts. Yeah, so by the time I joined, we were doing all kind of rollouts in the different subsidiaries of
Mhm.
that German company. Yeah, so
Mhm.
I did some rollouts in Mexico,
Mhm.
some in Romania. Even they also have a presence here. So it was fun stuff there. I got to learn IFS. Yeah, it was really hands-on.
Mhm.
In my previous job with the Oracle e-business suite, I had like more of a management position, which I didn't really like that much.
Okay. Okay.
I learned early on in my career that I'm a
Hands on.
computer guy. more than a people person. Let's say like that.
I
Although,
wouldn't say
in consulting, yeah, you need to be able to work with people, but
that.
at least, yeah, I don't really like to be responsible for what other people are doing. Yeah,
Yeah,
like
I think that's
taking
yeah,
responsibility of other people's actions. Yeah, I'd like to take responsibility for what the computer is doing, for what the system is doing, because I know how to program it better, than
reliable.
programming people. Yeah, yeah, and then during my time with this German IFS customer, I really got a lot of knowledge in the areas of supply chain,
Mhm,
uh, manufacturing, also a little bit of maintenance. But then I got a lot of knowledge in the technical area. Yeah, so
mhm.
we were having all the databases on premise. Yeah, so we had full access with IFS APP, and then you could build your own APIs in PLSQL. So it was quite nice. Build integrations. Also running data migrations, integrations. Yeah, it was quite nice, and I really loved the tool. Then the first time after switching from Oracle to IFS, it seemed like it's a totally different world. Yeah. So you
Really?
can imagine Oracle being something like an old SAP system, yeah, where you had to know all the transaction codes by heart in order to know where to navigate.
Oh
Yeah,
no.
so having a look at how IFS, yeah, behaved, yeah, it was like a totally different world, and I loved it. Yeah, immediately. And then after a few years with this company, I moved out and landed a job with what was to become Arkwide, yeah, from the IFS space.
Mhm.
And I say what was to become Arkwide because at the moment that I joined this company, it was called Bearing Point, there was no Arkwide at the time.
No.
So Arkwide was like a joint venture, or is a joint venture between IFS and Bearing Point.
Mhm.
And it was founded, I think, 1 year after I joined Bearing Point. But at the time, they were looking for people with IFS knowledge in Romania. Obviously, there aren't a lot of people with that knowledge. They hired me, and I also helped them to build the what they call the nearshore center of excellence in Romania. So it was a really fun time at Arkwide. So
So what does that
I,
entail? That center of excellence.
yeah, so basically, um, we started building a team of consultants,
Hmm.
starting from maybe from analyst level all the way to consultant level, because there were quite a few projects that Bearing Point and later Arkwide has won in the market. And from Romania, we were helping to deliver on those projects.
Hmm.
So basically, we were like a capacity pool for them to be able to serve the customers for the
Hmm.
projects that they have won. So, uh, of course, I was doing all that with hiring and mentoring, coaching people, because I mentioned we weren't really able to find a lot of IFS talent on
Hmm.
the Romanian market. Yeah, so we had to. What we did, we brought in specialists from a user perspective, yeah, in their domain of expertise, like maybe buyers, and then we trained them on supply chain. If they were buyers, they know what a purchase order is. They had the concept of a sales order, yeah, so they could grasp the basic concepts, and then we gave them additional training with
The
IFS
interface.
Academy.
Hmm.
Yeah, so this worked well with IFS Academy. And additionally, during my time at Arkwide, I was also helping myself to deliver on a few projects. Yeah, so it was, looking back at my career, I think it was the most rewarding years because it was
Hmm.
high growth in terms of
Hmm.
knowledge that I was getting. Yeah.
Hmm.
So when I joined Arkwide, yeah, I had no IFS Cloud experience. I
Mm.
mentioned we were working with apps 7.5 and apps 8,
Hmm.
and all of the sudden, most of the projects were IFS Cloud, and of
Mm.
course, it takes a while to get used to the new user interface. Um, yeah, but I also delivered quite a bit of projects in different capacities. Yeah, so I was stretched out to
Hmm.
different projects. Sometimes I was doing functional consulting for supply chain for a project. Other times I was building reports with report designer,
That's
and
so
so
fun.
acting as a technical
That's so
consultant.
fun. Yeah, absolutely. That's fun. It's fun.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and all at
yeah.
the same time also mentoring and coaching the
Mhm.
other people that were part of the team. Yeah, making sure that they know how the system works, they got the proper training, yeah, they get their certifications in order with IFS Cloud, so
Mhm.
that they have all the credentials needed in order to
Perform.
start helping out with customer projects. Yeah,
Wow.
so it was a fun adventure at Arquide. And then 2 years ago, I jumped into the contracting market for
Mhm.
IFS. Yeah, and now obviously I'm on a personal quest to build out my personal branding. Yeah, in
Yes.
terms of IFS.
Yes.
Uh, yeah, because obviously being a freelancer, you'd have nobody doing sales for you, so your personal brand needs to speak by itself on the market, and
Absolutely.
therefore I'm quite active on IFS community forums.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
and
Yes.
it's really really a nice thing that they've done with IFS community. Yeah, so
Yeah. Yeah.
uh, probably you've know this so far. Yeah, they have like a whole gamification process. Yeah, like you
Yes.
get
Badges.
points
Yeah.
and then badges and then
For,
different levels, so you
yes.
can be a
How many
superhero, you can be a
how many
hero.
replies you've done? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah, so
You
it's
are
quite nice.
everywhere. I mean, like I said, IFS community has been my go-to, um, as well, going to cloud. And I found you a couple of times, so I'm like, yeah, absolutely. I'm gonna talk to you on stream if you want to come on. Um, yeah, get ourselves known. I mean, it's funny. You mentioned this that and it's like a constant work to be able to learn, grow, reinvent yourself. You know, it's just a continuous process. I mean, I'm super happy to have heard your trajectory so far. I mean, it's been amazing. But I want to balance that out quickly and say, has it been always been this upward? Is there anything that you felt? What are the tough parts that you felt like in like to counteract that sort of thing? Like, have you found any sort of big challenges in a current landscape? Do you think that you want to see and work together on? Is there anything you're particularly thinking of? Could it be, as you said, you found a gap in the training market, as you said, like for free materials? Um, do you find that quite like information sharing is quite important to grow as
Yeah,
a community? Because I think, I mean, for me personally, I found I mean, we didn't invent IFS. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah,
We
for sure,
like,
but we discover it day by day. Yeah, at least from my perspective, every day I'm feel like I'm discovering it.
I mean,
Especially I spend quite a bit of time in the IFS community forum. Yeah, and the guys there are great. I try to bring my contribution to the table, but to be honest, whenever I have a question, yeah, most of the times I
yeah,
don't even have to do any research by myself. I just type it in IFS community and there is a brilliant guy giving an answer.
I think,
Yeah, so it
yeah, I mean, because we're, like I said, we're deep now in the trenches. I'm working solely for one customer, um, looking to cross train myself in, because I've been doing serum and technical. I don't want to bore you with that. I did that the whole of last stream, but to me, it's it's a vast sea out there of rules, especially basic data, right? If we talk about IFS, right? Um, it's funny. I was in the projects module, and there were so many rules to show an internal price. There was like 9 levels.
yeah. Yeah,
Um, and then it's a race with IFS to update the training material, have a centralized support, navigate that through so many different channels in the support, deliver a good service, and also work with a partner, work with a customer. And I'm sure they're working with multiple customers, multiple cases. Um, I don't blame people for um, doing only one thing and doing one thing well. When they say like, I'm
yeah,
a
yeah.
this is a supply chain consultant, it does go deep. And there is a mixed bag out there. I would say I've like during my encounter, like because I've also had a breadth of experience, projects and like consultants and even customers. It really just depends on the person. So I deal with everybody right now on a personal level. I don't like there is a halo effect when it comes to consultancies, right? Like if you come from X, Y, and Z, that's you. I think for me, I personally deal with everything like on a like okay, I've worked with this person. This is how that person approaches problems and this is how good they are. I work on that instead of trying to glaze myself over with what consultancy they've been or what they've done. But anyway, I'm going off on a tangent. I think all I wanted to say with that was, um, yeah, IFS is a big beast. I mean, it definitely is. How have you found moving to cloud right now? Like, I wanted to touch upon that. Like, what do you think customers are gonna find new? Because I've done a lot more of 10 now. Been working with 10 for quite a while, but I've worked with 7.5 and 8 and 9 like yourself. What would you say right now? Because the support contracts are running. Are you hearing a lot of people talk about or like apprehensive about the move to cloud? And what have you found tricky?
Yeah, well, at the moment, I'm working with a customer on their transition from Apps 10 to IFS Cloud.
Okay.
So the customer hired me on their to act on their behalf as a customer advocate, making sure that the system
Mhm.
integrator, the IFS partner that's running the upgrade, follows all the best practices and they deliver the value.
How far?
But yeah, I think I
How,
would say when it comes to, yeah, go ahead.
sorry, I was gonna say how far along are you in that?
We're in CFG now, and we are targeting a go live around mid April.
Okay,
So
so
support for apps 10 ends end of March,
it's
but I
well timed.
didn't want it to go live at the end of March. They wanted to close their quarter, and then we said, okay, we go live mid of April after all the books, all the quarter books are closed in apps 10.
Okay, and you've been working on this, I guess, how long now? Is it a year?
Well, this project we just started in October, so we just had a kickoff
That is
last October.
wow.
So it's
That is
6 months project, and it's not a big deal unless you have a lot of customizations in your apps 10 environment. Then it could potentially be a big deal to move to IFS Cloud,
mhm,
because some of those customizations you will need to rebuild,
mhm,
but at least most of the creams and all the configurations
mhm,
will just be there like magic. You just need to publish the custom fields and show them on the right pages, and it's not a very complex thing to do. But if you have a lot of customizations, then yeah, some of them would need to be reworked, especially if you have modified with the Enterprise Explorer client with creating new pages, not as custom pages, but really um, created them as a modification. Then yeah, you need to recreate them as projections. So it's a bit of heavy lifting if you have a heavily customized environment. But if the environment consists only of configurations, so custom events, custom fields, custom menus,
mhm,
then it's quite an easy task, I would say.
mhm.
Probably the biggest topic would be user training with the new user
Mm,
interface, because under the hood, it's exactly the same
yes.
PL SQL APIs.
How
Mm.
big is the team that you're handling, and did they have set processes already? Because I guess that all affects the time scale. And did you do a scoping exercise, or you just went, "Yep, I'll do it in 6 months"? Obviously, you don't have to answer any of this. I'm just
No,
really curious in this end because I know all these variables chucked together really makes a difference when it comes to your life in this year.
yeah. No, but this customer is a really well organized customer, so they have
Right.
their own internal key user lead team, so
Good.
to speak. Yeah. So
They're
for each
engaged.
module, for each stream, they have a person dedicated that knows everything about that module from their business process
So
perspective. Yeah.
very
So they
engaged.
know
Okay.
all the creams that were built for a specific module. Yeah, so it's quite nice working with them. Yeah, and then the system integrator takes care about the technical part, uplifting, migrating the databases from Apps 10 to cloud,
Mhm.
and yeah, then it's a lot about end-to-end testing and user training. Yeah, one thing that you need to do from Apps 10 to cloud, which is a bit unfortunate, I would say, you need to rebuild all your permission sets, all your
Yes.
permission sets, because
Yes.
yeah, the new
Sections.
architecture with cloud is projection based, so web
Yeah.
APIs, and you really need to redo all of that. But for this customer in particular, it was a good exercise because yeah, they didn't have a very good permission set structure to
So
begin with in
it's time
Apps
to
10.
rebuild,
So they
anyways.
were even looking to
Rebuild.
take on like a smaller project to just rebuild because they couldn't really pass any audits
But
from
now
a
it's a good
security
time.
standpoint.
It's a good time to do that because you're going to a
Yep.
new system that looks and feels
Yeah.
different. Let's talk
Yeah.
about
Yeah. It's like going to a clean sheet. Yeah. So
yeah.
they
No,
also,
perfect. That's perfect.
it's also an opportunity for the customer to, yeah, enforce adherence to some processes. And because you always in an organization, you have the standard way of doing things, and then you have the user's way of working around the standard way of doing things. Yeah.
We've talked about this.
And
We've talked about
especially is, yeah, especially if you are in a multi-site, multi-company environment,
mm,
it's really difficult to bring everyone from all the sites on the same page how they should use
yeah, yeah.
the applications. Yeah,
Yes.
so they take opportunity in this project. Yeah, let's start with a clean sheet. We have our processes. Let's make sure we only train the users
Mm-hmm.
a certain way of doing things. Yeah.
Hey man, there's a lot there to unpack. Like I feel you. I live this now. So right now it's post go live for us. Um and I live all this. I think all of these are building blocks to a good working cloud system. Um I think upgrades or implementations are two different, very distinct things. But
Yeah.
sometimes it depends on the partner as well as to what they're gonna do, because yeah, okay, it's an implementation if it's fresh, if they don't have a process, and it's an upgrade like like a cloud would. But I guess what I'm trying to get to is strong key users, like you mentioned, are so important because it
Yeah.
saves you
They are
time.
key. Yeah. Key users
Yes.
are key.
Yes. I mean, they save you time. I mean, I can't stress this enough because otherwise, you're going to have to spend a lot of time breaking down what happened to this crim, what happened to this process. Like, they could just tell you, okay, it works X, Y, and Z, and this crim should do that. That saves everything. And I think you're right. Permission set revamps should be, although that's also sometimes tricky when not everyone's engaged if you're trying to do that on top of an implementation or an upgrade, because I guess sometimes if the upgrade is being used as a way to rewrite processes, that's going to take longer. So I think 6 months actually is
No,
really
6 months is because it's just a scripted upgrade. Yeah,
yeah.
so you technically you just run a bunch of scripts,
Okay.
take the database from Apps 10, put it in the IFS Cloud build place, use place,
Hmm.
and there you have all your data. You just need to get used to the user interface, and most of the configurations would work out of the
So
box.
just permission sets and new layout training, pretty much, almost.
Yes, yeah, pretty much.
Hey, look, that
But of
sounds.
course, with this, yeah, speaking about cloud and the advantages of cloud, yeah,
Mhm,
because the customer might just want, okay, I just want to go to cloud because support will end for apps 10.
mhm.
Yeah, but once you're into cloud, you had your go live, then when you open your eyes, you can see a lot of different features which were not available in apps 10 but
Yes.
are there in IFS Cloud. Yeah,
Mhm,
so maybe some low hanging fruit that
mhm,
you could start to implement. And
mhm,
thinking about, I don't know, business planning module that was implemented in IFS Cloud. Yeah,
mhm,
I
mhm.
know a few customers that could really have used that in apps 10, but there was no business planning or cash flow planning module in apps 10. Yeah,
Okay.
so once you are into cloud, you can open your eyes and see what's around, what
Mhm,
surrounds you. It's not just the things that you come with apps from apps 10 and you're used to
mhm.
most of the times, but there's also incremental functionality, because that's the beauty of the system with IFS Cloud. it evolves. Yeah,
It does. It does.
two
It's
times a year you
yes,
get a full pack of new features.
yes, that you have to test, and
You,
you
you
have.
have to test, but what's also nice about this, yeah, you have two times a year new release updates packed with features which most of the times were requested by customers. Yeah,
Yes.
so going back to the IFS community, yeah, you also have an idea wall there. You
Mhm,
can post ideas, people
mhm.
can upvote, and then IFS will say, hey, this feature is really needed by maybe, I don't know,
It's
100
been
different users
upvoted.
working
Yeah.
for 100 different companies across the world. This must be some best practice that we need to implement.
Mhm.
Yeah, and then it makes, yeah, so I
Prioritization.
really think IFS pays attention to what the customers want,
It's it's
which
easy. It's
which
easy
for
to
me it's
listen.
a great selling point
Yeah,
for IFS. Yeah.
that's it. If you listen to your customers, it pays off. Like we've been working here for such a long time, and we're so passionate about the product. I think um, there is something about not just paying for an upgrade or an implementation. You have to keep working at it in different ways to complement your business, because otherwise it's not a tool that's gonna magically solve all your problems. If
No,
it,
for sure.
no, like because sometimes I guess it gets sold as that, it gets. I know when. Let's talk about um let's keep talking about cloud, but I want to circle back to um maybe expectations between from consultants, charged working days, um ad hoc customers, long term consultancies. What are the differences? I think I really resonate with you. I think cloud, you have to be up to date. I think that is probably one of the lessons I've learned so far in my new role as well. Um,
Yeah,
because otherwise, it will compile. Like, I mean, I guess even if you do jump, like, you skip some updates and you do jump, you still have to recognize what's there, what's not, and your key users are really key. So, have you encountered? I know this is like an unplanned question, and you don't have to answer this, but do you have any sort of insights as to how to make keep key users maintained, like motivated, and apart from obviously offering them a nice salary and maybe targets, do you have any sort of insights as to what would keep key users engaged in the system? How do you find the right candidate for finding key users? I know this isn't something that we've
yeah,
talked about. Is there anything you can think of to, you know maybe?
yeah. So a lot of time, organizations, what they are doing, they are finding key users that are already having a lot of tasks in their daily job, and on
Mhm,
top they add this key user role. Hey, now you're a key user because you know how to run this department, you're also a key user.
mhm.
Yeah, and this doesn't really make it so that it's motivating for the person, yeah? Because at the end of the day they are doing all the work
Yep,
and they
yeah.
get extra work,
Mhm.
on top. So what I found it works with organizations is whenever they try to build such a key user structure,
Mhm.
they need to take away some of their daily work. Yeah?
Mm,
And this is what I found works best, because then they can focus on what they have to do as key users.
mhm,
Yeah, so identify where are process inefficiencies, keeping up to date with new release updates, and IFS is doing a good job in providing quite extensive PowerPoints for each module with each new release, what's new, with screenshots, how to implement these new features. So it's quite
mhm.
good information coming from IFS, but you need to have the people in your organization having the time to read 200 pages of
Mm,
PowerPoint slides. Yeah, when they can yeah, support the business. So I think what motivates people is being pulled out a bit from the business and
mhm,
given this key user responsibility so that they can really focus on it.
mhm,
Um, and additionally, what I encourage them to do, yeah, during this upgrade project that we are going through is to keep updated with, Yeah, they should have been equipped with an IFS community account. Start searching for answers
One.
there. Yeah, and then to watch out every twice a year for these release updates and read about what's new
This is
inside. Yeah,
really good advice. Yep.
yeah, because at the end of the day, this release, applying the release update should not really be just an IT topic. We need to
No.
be compliant, not fall more than 2 years behind so that we lose support.
Mhm.
But it should be really a business driven process. Yeah. So if you have a strong key user organization that
Mhm.
knows, okay, next month we will get 25 R1, and these are the list of features which will be available. Maybe out of the 15 for finance, we could use one or two, and it will make our lives easier in the finance department. We can't wait to get that new release update implemented and test out this new functionality.
Mhm. Mhm.
And if you think about it like that, that every new release update will bring something new to you as an organization, and it will optimize your processes, make, I don't know, save a few clicks here and there, give your users more time to focus on what matters for the business and not spend that much time in the system. And I think it's a good approach to have.
Wow, that's excellent. I mean, that's really great. Great answer. Okay. What advice would you give people who are looking to learn something new, and like maybe a new module, like or looking to manage a new team, a team, but where they haven't had much IFS experience before, and there isn't much structure involved. I guess, talk to me about like learning something new in IFS, because it is a big beast. It's kind of difficult to just be an expert in everything because you're gonna chase your own tail.
Yeah,
Do
I think
you have any
it's
thoughts?
important. Yeah, I think it's important from which level you are starting. Yeah, because you need to build this knowledge piece by piece.
Hmm.
And for example, I would never recommend anyone to go straight on to the projects module. Because projects is a combination of, okay, project management itself,
Hmm.
but then supply chain, you have procurement, you have customer orders, you have service and maintenance, you have work orders.
Hmm.
Yes, you have combination of all of this. You have shop orders, for example,
Hmm.
and all of them are combined in the project. Yeah, when the
It's
working
beautiful.
breakdown structure. Yeah, so I would, what I'm also trying to do in my YouTube channel, yeah, is start small with small steps, small building blocks.
Hmm.
Start from an IFS supply chain perspective. Yeah, know how to create a customer, a part, how to deliver an order, how to work with warehouse data collection, how to do inventory transactions in the system. Yeah, and then you can start to build on that. Yeah, you can go to learn about intercompany transactions
Hmm.
once you are a more advanced level. Yeah. But in this regard, it's really nice what IFS Academy has also set up. So back in the days when I joined Bearing Point, and I was telling you we were hiring quite a bit of people,
Hmm.
and we needed a training program to put them through. Yeah. Right then, this was like maybe 4 or 5 years ago. In IFS Academy, they had like scheduled courses, I think one per quarter.
Hmm.
Yeah, and if, for example, you had somebody joining in next week as a new hire, but the training course from IFS Academy is fully booked and will be maybe in a month, then this person had to wait another 4 months to get onto the next training course. Yeah, and this is why I started also internally for Bearing Point and Arquite to build up this video training library. Yeah, where I would just record myself over Teams, not knowing that there are better recording software out there. I know I could share my screen on Teams. Yeah, I would just set up a meeting to myself and
Hmm.
then go away for a few hours at um, in a row, record stuff. But IFS Academy really improved in the meantime. Yeah, so they added the so-called virtual blended courses. Yeah,
Yes.
where you can just take the course. Yeah, pay for it, whatever it costs. Usually, partners will get it for free, and you do it at your own pace. Yeah, and there are pre-recorded videos. You also have some assignments that you can do.
Hmm.
So it's quite a nice way to keep up to date. And then when it comes to new release updates, yeah, once you, let's say you went to IFS Academy, you got your supply chain certification. Yeah, guess what? That certification is only valid 1 or max 2 years,
Mm-hmm.
because there will be a recertification once enough supply chain features pile up. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
from the certification that you had, maybe you took it in 22 R1. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
now we are running with 24 R2.
Mm-hmm.
Sure, your certification has a lot of, yeah, missing pieces, and
Mm-hmm.
therefore in IFS Academy they will force you to take a recertification exam just from the extra features that they have added in the meantime. Yeah, so they are really doing a good job to keep the IFS people up to date with the knowledge. Yeah? And IFS Academy could be both for partners and for customers alike. Yeah? So you, as an IFS customer, could sign up for IFS Academy
Mm-hmm.
and go through all of those classes. Yeah, that's one good way to keep your knowledge up to date.
Mm-hmm.
And then another one, maybe in a few months, if a new beginner wants to learn about IFS Cloud, they could fully subscribe to my YouTube channel, and by then there should be enough
I
content
knew it
there
was
to
coming.
cover.
Absolutely. And
Yeah, you saw that coming, huh?
and if you want to like see all the other different types of people in IFS community, go to my channel. Perfect. Hey Marcel, that's amazing, man. I think this is goes without saying. It's a deep one. Like there's for somebody especially if you're interested. I think I would go with that. Like if you're interested in something, if manufacturing or for me personally, that's my advice. I was interested in the sales process, the what makes a company thrive. So I navigated towards the CRM module. I was interested in that. That's how I fell into that. But I would say that I would say if the service process interests you, that would also play a key part to add to everything you've just
Yep.
said, which I fully agree.
Yeah.
Because you have to spend a lot of time here, um, making it fit for your business. Although IFS is obviously trying, it's an ERP, is trying to do everything at once. There's different flavors too. I've seen lots of systems, and we're gonna slide straight to the crims then, the customization, the configuration side of things. I guess that's a double-edged sword, right? Crims always like this. It's so good that you can spend. I mean, I know personally, technically, I've spent a lot of. I could spend like 2 3 days on a report or in a customization configuration, um, and then that's just a chunk of the value that's needed for the business, and that's why consultants are here. They're here to do those ad hoc tasks to relieve your internal team of pressure, right? For
Yep.
ad hoc tasks, but not just that. But I guess consultants are there during the implementation and upgrade process to obviously train your staff and make sure that they're in the right version and it marries up with the system. But I guess what I'm leading up to here is, what do you think? How do you think your life was differently when it comes to like being a consultant and being like an intern, like a customer itself? Like, how do you think it's different? Um, is it much different?
Yeah, I think for me personally, it was very valuable the time I spent as an IFS customer and
Yes.
going deep into the trenches, understanding the business model and how things work in IFS. So it was a good foundation block.
Hmm.
And for me, it was ideal to jump into consulting because then I just needed to know more from everything. But at
Yeah.
least I had a solid foundation also from a business perspective. It was not something abstract for me. And it's just a system that some people use to make money.
Hmm.
It's more than that. It really helps your business thrive, I would say.
Hmm.
And to be honest, I like it more being on the consulting side.
Hmm.
Yeah. But even as a consultant for working for an IFS partner, for example, but I like it even more being a freelancer because it gives you the opportunity to work directly with the customer and potentially have multiple customers. So you can learn multiple business models, for example, multiple industries, how things are done in a different industry.
Mhm.
So you could learn all of this, and at the same time you can be considered like somehow part of their team. Yeah,
Mhm.
always when you're consultant with an IFS partner and you go to a client, yeah, you are seen like an external. But once
Mm.
you start working with a freelancer and you develop that trust with the customer, yeah, they really see you like a part of the team, like an extension of the team.
That's always so nice. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I think,
Yeah,
I
that's
think
really nice. But what you mentioned with the creams, yeah, that it's a double-edged sword. Yeah, indeed.
yes.
I really have the feeling that
Mhm.
consultants aren't pushing back as much as they
Should.
would need to push back. They should whenever a customer says a crazy thing. Yeah. So you go to a customer, I don't know, they work with an old system and they want to make IFS Cloud work exactly like their old system. Yeah, so they
Mm.
want all these crazy fields that do this and that. So they really want to modify how IFS Cloud works.
Mhm.
Yeah, and many times they don't get any pushback. Yeah, they are the customer. We do what they want.
Mhm.
Especially since we modify the system, this would mean extra hours on the project, extra money for the company. Yeah, so in the end, it could be a win for the IFS partner, but on the long term, it would be a loss for the end customer because then their upgrade process will be, yeah, maybe a nightmare depending on how much they modify the system. But my rule of thumb is if by doing creams you
Mhm.
stick with the first two, with the CR, and don't go for interfaces and modifications,
Mhm.
and you stick with just configurations and report layouts,
Yes.
quick reports maybe,
So
you're
in-house
fine.
configuration, and make sure someone can support that after you build it, like yourself, right? You know,
Yeah,
like make sure the internal team will be able to modify something quick with that, because
yeah,
otherwise, I think it goes to without saying right now that this is where my podcast is going to push things a little bit, because we're going to talk about the real stuff, right? Configurations cost money, like crims cost money, but also inefficient processes cost money. And it's starting to sound like your normal sales pitch, right? I'm not selling anything. I'm working for a customer now. You are, building a brand, whatever. But literally, pe- people will tangle themselves with customizations, and that is probably 80% of what would make, maybe that's a high number, but that's a large part of what would delay a project. On top of, like, we mentioned key users, I think those two to me are like, do you have a solid foundation in your process? Does it mesh with IFS well? And do you have many crims? It's
yeah,
almost those two things. But you're right as well, in a sense that actually sometimes the crim part, and maybe I'm guilty of this myself, at some point in my career, maybe like when I'm working for a customer, when I felt like, okay, I'm gonna modify this part of the process and make it all singing and dancing, but actually, you know what? Um, you don't need to reinvent the wheel some of the time. Like, it's almost like, and the reports as well. You can slice it and do it in so many different ways, right? And I guess it all boils down to, how can you rein those in? How can you have a system that goes, okay, with this process, these are the reports that complement it. How can we simplify? How can we redefine it, rather than, okay, let's rewrite it? Because I think that's a ticket to just endless hours, right? Of
yeah.
doing
Yeah,
the
I
same
think
thing, you know?
from my perspective, I think the you should be able to do a cream if it supports some sort of competitive advantage that your business has over in the market. Yeah, if you just want to do a cream because your users are used to some other fields from another system, I would say, yeah, just forget about it. Don't do it. Just follow the best practices implemented in IFS. Hundreds of business run the same processes. They work fine. If we are talking about something that's your competitive advantage on the market towards your, yeah, competition, and you need to keep that functionality in order to keep that edge over those competitors, then by all means do it. Yeah, but don't just do it because some of your users are too, I don't know, don't want to learn how a new system works and they just want to, yeah, build IFS Cloud to behave like their old system, so like they never change anything. Yeah, because the biggest thing here, I think, it's always change management at organizational level. Yeah, so I've witnessed this many times when you have strong leaders in the organization, business leaders, not
Yeah.
necessarily IT leaders,
Yeah.
because these transformation projects should never be an IT project. It's doomed to fail if your IT leader is pushing for the ERP implementation. It
Because
should be
it's
the
so.
business process
Yeah. Yeah.
leaders that
Yeah.
push
Absolutely.
for this. Yeah, and they should really have strong buy-in in order to be able to motivate the
And
people, yeah, to
incentives,
adopt
incentives,
the process.
incentives, like you said. Well, like I said, and then you said taking away some of their responsibilities so they can still have their 8 hours or work in a smart way, not be overloaded. Um, I think what we're talking about today has been so good. It shouldn't be free, but it's free. I think. So we talk about crims, we talk about consultancies. What would you say? What would you do if a company has been run so badly that they need to work on their processes again from scratch and marry that up with IFS, or at least tangents started to happen within, because you can do more than one thing in IFS in one way. That's the thing, right? Sometimes there could be
Yeah.
multiple things, ways to do one thing. It's like the system has grown to say yes everywhere almost as well. What would you what would you recommend apart from I get what you mean about the strong leader and buy-in, because those two are key, right? If no one listens to the strong leader, the whole thing falls over. If there is no strong leader, the whole thing falls over. It's like a puzzle. Like it's like blocks of things that you stack on top. What do you call it? Is it Jenga? Can't remember now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Jenga
but they
blocks.
all have to be right. You take one of these things away, you can waste everyone's time almost. And I mean, we've seen this, we've heard this happen. We've heard implementations go on. I've heard of a project that's going on. Um, Hired like 30 consultants, and now they're all arguing about what to do because they're all strong characters. Throwing
Yeah.
money at a problem doesn't mean it's going to get solved. Even throwing resources at a problem doesn't mean it's going to get solved. So yeah, forgive my rant. Do you have any like initial thoughts on that? Like if you had to say, you know what, let's say you're a new manager that comes in, you know what, I want to take these and I want to do something with it. What would you suggest that person should do?
Yeah. So in such a case, I would not even involve an consultancy firm. I think we need really first to get the house in order,
Hmm.
to start documenting what we are doing, from a process perspective.
Hmm.
Yeah, so we really need to get all these things in order, because the idea is by bringing some additional consulting resources, yeah, with IFS skills, it's not going to solve your problem. Yeah, they don't know how you run your business.
Hmm.
Yeah, so first of all, you need to bring all the people from the head of departments, for example, yeah, put in some process flows, exactly who's doing what, how are the different activities influenced by different people in different departments. So lay it all down, and then after you have agreed on a business, on a, yeah, you have a common agreement on how you run your business, and you also have it in written, then you can invite an IFS consultancy and tell them, okay, please help us put these processes in IFS Cloud. Yeah, and by no means, if there's something that we could do better in IFS Cloud than we are doing now, yeah, please show us how to do that. Yeah, so you should also be open to change. But first, you need to get your things in order without having the consultancies mingling in. Yeah, because obviously they will just throw ideas on the wall, see what sticks, but it could just cause more confusion in the end. As you said, strong characters, which will have their own idea on how to make your business better. Yeah, but they will be with you just for a few months and then they are gone. You need to be there to continue running your business.
Perfect. It leads me on to how do you? Oh man, this is like balancing a plate. I was gonna say something like, how do you spot people that um, how do you even turn around somebody who hates the system? This is maybe a great question because we've seen this time and time again. They hate the system. They're quite clever, um, but you need their buy-in. What would you do?
Yeah, well, to be honest, I wish would not be the manager of such a person. Because, yeah, to be honest, this is the
Everyone
trickiest
then.
part. Yeah, you can control computers. Yeah, they behave very predictably. But then when you talk about people, yeah, you need to be very empathic and try to
Mm,
understand maybe sometimes what they are going through. Yeah, maybe they don't just hate the system. Maybe they are, I don't know, going through a divorce, going through a rough patch
mhm,
in their life. So they just hate and so say no to everything.
mhm,
But yeah, on the other side, you are not really a psychologist to
mm.
to help them fix their, I don't know,
Their problems in
their
life.
inner problems. Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
because in my opinion, yeah, you should come to work. Yeah, you get paid to do a job. Yeah, you get the instructions on how to do it. Just run with the instructions. Don't overstep the boundaries.
I think it goes without saying, like, there is no perfect company, there is no perfect consultancy
Yeah,
either.
for
We
sure.
have to work a way around that. You've raised some great points. I would say another thing I would bring up is, I guess some customers used to be able to just upgrade things themselves, upgrade the system themselves. I heard it was a smoother process pre-cloud, but post-cloud. What are your thoughts on this? Because it's something, um, I guess it's new for a lot of people, customers, right? And
I
I
would
guess
say, I would say, from my experience, is exactly the opposite.
okay,
So whenever you were in apps 8 or 9 and you wanted to apply some
patch.
patches, yeah,
Hmm.
you always needed to reach out to IFS. They would provide you some files with all the deliveries. So they would create the deliveries in the Harvest
Hmm.
file
Hmm.
management system that they owned back in the days. So it was not an easy process at all, I would say. But now with IFS Cloud, the customer is the owner of the build place, yeah,
Yeah.
where you can span different development environments and you have full control. Yeah, so you know there is a date when the new release update will be, yeah, publicly available. You can see the source code in Git. You can integrate the repository in your own customer solution repository, and you can really do the release update by yourself. So I would say if the customers have one technical person that has a bit of an idea about how Git works and the source code versioning systems
Hmm.
and a bit of an idea about PLSQL, sometimes, yeah, you might have some conflicts with new features, conflicting maybe with some modifications that you might have. So you might
Hmm.
need to tweak a one or two lines of code every now and then. But from my perspective, what we have now in IFS Cloud, it's really something that the customers could run by themselves.
Mm.
Yeah. So if
Uh,
you know what you are doing from a customer perspective, you have all the knowledge in place. You don't really need anyone else. Right?
so I'm
If
gonna,
all goes well, it's half an hour process to get the new release update in the build place, for example, so you
well,
can open it up for testing.
of course, subject to, I was gonna say, new feature testing and previous testing that you have, and crims that might throw a spanner in the works. You're good to go once
Yeah.
you know what you're trying to achieve with the new patch, what you're expecting. I think that's the only thing. It's just you have to test. It's not a fun process, in the sense of, because again, if you think about an internal user, they have their day to day, and now they have to do testing. But I guess it's just that you need to embed the culture in that. Actually, this is a positive thing, guys. We're upgrading. We're going to the latest version. It's upgrading for a reason. But the other thing I was gonna say was, with your take on the upgrades, I guess a lot of business will now come from like different partners to handle that upgrade process for customers. But then I guess that's just the game, right? The game is how much could they get you reliant on on someone external, right? And
Well,
you
I
keep
think it depends on each customer. So if they have an IT department with a few guys
hmm
that do some technical tasks, and this is something that they could learn how to do. It's fairly easy.
hmm
And so, for example, if you have like a DevOps
hmm
person in your organization,
yes,
it will take them half a day to read the documentation from IFS how to do release updates, and
that's
they
it.
will be running with it like crazy.
hmm
And that's it. But so my experience so far was that you should never hurry up to take the latest release update. So let's
Yes.
say
hmm
next week we will get 25R1.0.
Don't jump
Immediately you should take it.
in.
No,
Yeah.
please wait. So each month IFS will deliver bug fixes. So
Yes.
they do these release updates twice a year
hmm
in May and October.
hmm
Yeah, the big release updates.
hmm
But then in between each month, they will deliver some bug fixes. Yeah, so there will be customers that will go to IFS 25.1.0. Yeah, they will probably create a lot of support tickets for bug fixes, and then IFS a month later will release 25.1.1. Yeah, so I would advise customers to wait until maybe, I don't know, dot four. Yeah, so 4 months after
Enabler
the new release is out, then most of the bugs
ironed out.
should be found by other customers by then. Huh? Yeah, there was even a case, I think in 23 R2, that they had a general bug in some of the versions that they could not send emails. All the emails they were sent from IFS Cloud, they had no attachment. And you obviously have a lot of customers that automated email sending to the
Sending to
customers whenever there's an invoice created and printed, boom, send it to the customer
purchaser.
accounts receivable email address.
Mhm.
Yeah, so they really had a banner on top of the IFS Cloud bill place on every customer saying, please don't upgrade to 23.1.2 because you're not able to send PDFs in your email. Yeah, so this was like a crazy issue for a lot of customers.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so but yeah, I found that IFS support is really good with IFS Cloud.
Yeah. No, I,
Yeah,
I find
so
the same. Yeah.
yeah, they will be very proactive. They will tell you if it was already raised, the bug that you're raising, and when in what which patch you should get in order to get rid of that bug. Or if not, they will just create development cases with R&D and they will fix the issues that you're having. So it's quite good. Yeah, my experience with IFS support for cloud is quite good. Coming from an apps 8 system where we were running in, I think we had no support. Yeah, at some point we were paying for extended support,
hmm
uh, but after that we had no support. So we were just
Throwing it.
emailing the IFS account manager, please help us if you
Help
can.
us. We have a
But
problem. Yeah.
no response ever. But
No.
with IFS Cloud, they are quite good with that.
Um. Wow, this has been an amazing stream. I hope you also enjoy the questions. Is there something that you would like to talk about that I haven't covered already? I think we've done a lot.
Yeah.
Um.
Well, I think some things that worth mentioning. I think a lot of customers are now with a project in flight to move from apps 10 or apps 9
mhm, mhm.
to cloud due to the support ending for apps 10. And yeah, one common theme that I keep hearing, yeah, it's from existing customers, apps 10 moving to cloud. Yeah, some of them are really pissed by this licensing model changes. And,
Oh.
with apps 10 or until apps 10, you had like these perpetual licenses. So you paid a big lump sum of money upfront.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, and you had the licenses and you could run with them. If you needed more licenses, you would again pay some amount. But now with IFS Cloud, yeah, they moved to a subscription-based
Mm.
licensing. Yeah, so
Yes.
it's really software as a service, if you will. And
Yes.
this is what all the ERP or even major software vendors are doing. Yeah,
It's the
SAP is
new
doing
thing.
that with S4.
Everything, everything is a subscription now. So
Everything is a subscription, so you get this annual recurring revenue, which
yeah.
all the shareholders love.
I tell you what. I tell you what. I tell you what. I'll tell you a personal story, and I'm allowed to name this. I know I'm going to break a rule, my child, but Adobe got me lately. I think um, yeah, I just got hit with this with these charges. I think I signed up on my wife's account, so we could do some. I could try some software editing, but I guess it's up to me to remember it. But the charge was the same, and I literally had my own Adobe anyway. So there was some point maybe I was paying double, and then there was no unsubscribe on the top. So it hit me
Well,
with a massive bill, and I just had to. And then the support was an 0800 number, and then I was ringing them. They disconnected, and then all of a sudden, like I now got whacked with a bill, and they're like, "Oh, but then you're gonna get whacked by like 50%." And I'm like, I actually managed to reach support in X out of everywhere. I got through a support agent in X because it was free, and I hit my £10 spending limit a month on my phone because I've got a. Otherwise, I would have paid an extra maybe £50 to just get through the 0800 number. Obviously, that's the worst case of subscription. By the way, that's not IFS at all. But carry on with your what were you saying? So I just wanted to switch that one up.
yeah,
But yeah, that was
yeah,
crazy.
for that. Yeah, but basically, yeah, this is a big change in how customers perceive it. Yeah, because customers coming from apps 9 or apps 10,
Hmm.
they most of the times would see this as a ripoff, and because they already paid, they have the rights to use the software, but not IFS Cloud. So if they want to move to IFS Cloud, so they see this like a forced upgrade,
Mm-hmm.
and obviously, IFS will make a bunch of money out of this, and I guess this is their business model to increase their annual recurring revenue. Yeah, so this is what Microsoft is doing. This is what SAP is doing. This is what Salesforce is doing. Everything is a subscription these days. Yeah, but yeah, with your old customer base, which are used to doing things in one way, yeah, they see this like a big increase in costs.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but on the other side, the features that are available in IFS Cloud, they're
Mm.
worth the money. Yeah, but it's like a mindset change that also the
Yeah,
customer get into.
yeah, absolutely. I think there is no way but forward. And I mean, I'm not giving reasons for IFS. I'm not going to do that. But at the end of the day, I really do think, though, that the topics we've discussed today are going to significantly reduce your cost. Like, literally, everything we've discussed today in this stream, if you have a good key user base, if you have good internal documents and strong leaders that push back, the actual uplift to cloud shouldn't be that painful. And yes, there, as you're talking, like there might be an upfront cost, and you're telling now, like people like who's probably in 9, 8, 9, or 10 that are thinking of going to cloud. They haven't spoken to an IFS person or a consultant. You're pre-warning them of an upcoming cost, right? Pretty much. So
Yeah.
you're softening the blow for them. But as you put, there is no other way but forward, because there is a lot of things coming. And I want to maybe end the stream this way. Are you excited for AI? What are the things that you've heard that you are excited for? I mean, doesn't the 24 come out in a couple of days? If correct me if I'm wrong. Um, or the end of November. I guess I'll be releasing this at a later date.
Uh, yeah, I think it's out already.
It's
24
out.
R2. It was out shortly after IFS Unleashed.
Okay.
It happened in October.
Right.
So yeah, and
Oh,
yeah,
sorry,
so the
that's
thing with
24. That's 24, right? That's come out October.
24 R2. Yeah,
Okay.
24 R2. The next one, 25 R1, will be sometime in May next year.
But the actual AI come out on October, right? Like the AI features come out.
Yeah, well, of course, IFS Unleashed was packed with AI features, but actually the AI chatbot, so the component which is called FND GPT, and
Mhm.
that's the real name of the component, So the chatbot, the AI chatbot, which
Mhm.
is using technology from Microsoft Copilot, was released in 24R1.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Yeah, it was 24R1. So
Yeah.
this spring they released this new component.
Hmm.
But at that moment, that component you had to purchase it additionally. So it was an SKU that you had to purchase. So it
Right.
was not free to use because
Okay.
obviously it's doing a lot of calls to Azure, Microsoft Azure, and I don't even know how IFS is pricing that because you could have customers hammering that functionality. Yeah, so they're doing a lot of AI calls to Copilot, and those could get expensive if you do hundreds of thousands of them, and you could have customers that don't do any API calls,
Hmm.
AI calls.
So
But
authorities, do you
in
think
that
that?
version, it
Yeah.
was quite limited to the
Prompts.
documentation pages of IFS. So the
Yeah.
libraries that it could access, it was not the World Wide Web. It was just docs.ifs.com.
Right.
Yeah, so it could give you some good information from the demos that I've seen. But yeah, I even did a post in LinkedIn, I think a few months ago, about this feature. And then there was another IFS consultant, Barry. Shout out to Barry
Shout out Barry.
Fairhurst. Yeah, he mentioned in the comments that you can even use, if you open IFS Cloud in an Edge browser, you can
Mhm.
open Copilot. Yeah, you have on the top right, you have Copilot, and you can ask him, okay, I'm on this page. What do I do from here? And it will give you instructions, even instructions for what posting controls you need to set up if you are doing this or that transaction in IFS Cloud. Yeah, so that's the Copilot from Microsoft Edge, which is cost you no money. Yeah.
Oh, wow, that's
But
great.
overall, if we think about AI and IFS, I think AI at its core, it's machine learning, right? So already IFS had a lot of machine learning technology embedded in demand planner, for example. Yeah, when you had all these crazy algorithms based on historical data to project how your sales will do, how you need to keep your inventory levels. Yeah, they already had this for years, even before AI was a real buzz.
Mhm.
Yeah. What they promised with IFS Unleashed, there will be some specific industry applicability with AI.
Mhm.
Yeah. At the moment, I really think it's a hype. I don't really
Mm.
see any practical applications. Yeah, besides the chatbots,
Mhm.
yeah, that could really this generative AI, which could be quite helpful. Could help with coding. Yeah. I
Mhm.
try to make ChatGPT my friend whenever I try to develop something in Oracle PLSQL. I will always use it to help me. But when I want to develop something in Arena, so Arena page development with Marble, the proprietary code from
Mhm.
IFS, ChatGPT has no idea about what Marble is. It
Mhm.
knows that it's a stone. Yeah, so it doesn't have access to
IFS
the
library.
IFS internals to know exactly what this
But
is. But
now
if you ask
this
them
this
about
one would.
Java, SQL, and all that,
But this the IFS is one would because it has access to those libraries. Is that what you're saying? Right.
well,
Or.
IFS built the Marble syntax. Yeah, it's
Mhm.
their proprietary language. If you talk about SAP development, you talk about ABAP. If you
Mhm.
talk about Arena development, you talk about Marble, and this
Mhm.
is their
So,
proprietary
so
syntax.
are you saying that that would be useful in that sense if you needed Marble code built, maybe the chatbot. What do we even call it? Arena. What did they call the um remind me, what did they call it? They called it something, the AI. Did they even coin it right now? Did they call did they just call it AI?
I think AI chatbot.
AI
Right?
chatbot.
It's
Okay.
on the top right.
So you
AI
think
chatbot.
that would be able to help you with Marble code? You think you would
I don't
hope?
know.
You would
I don't
hope
know.
that'd be a good idea though.
Yeah, well, the what I understood from the new release with 24R2 is that the AI chatbot is also context sensitive, so it knows exactly on what page you are, and it might suggest. So you've opened customer order page, and
Hmm.
you open the chatbot, and you ask them, okay, what should I do now? So they are able to look at the order status, see, okay, status planned. Maybe you should release the order, and maybe you should see if you have enough stock in order to release it. It will advise you to do certain IFS specific actions.
So
Yeah?
it's
Starting from the page you're on.
so you think it's as good as your questions? It'll be like, well, I guess that's AI. It's only as good as your
Yeah,
questions. And
yeah,
would you say they'll you need to run some sort of verification? That's the thing I'm thinking of. Like when I start with these things, because I mean,
yeah.
what's probably
It
also
can
great.
it can hallucinate pretty quickly.
I mean, I mean,
If you
I
ask it
guess
the right question, you can get it to hallucinate pretty
so,
quickly, I
so
guess.
Marcel, I guess what's apparent right now is I am chomping at the bits to try out the 20. And what's also apparent is I'm not there yet. I'm not using it yet. That's why I have like I'm at this like sort of edge, and I think like everyone is. But that would be an interesting part to see with IFS because there are companies like Click Learn. There's other companies that offer testing solutions. Um, I know AI is a big buzzword now, and um, does it go beyond? I think so. I guess even PSO has AI capabilities, right? So,
Yeah, but of course, when you talk about AI capabilities, yeah, as I mentioned, yeah, machine learning was there since a long time in IFS. Yeah,
mhm,
you had demand planner, you have PSO, as you mentioned, the PSO engine for scheduling optimization,
mhm,
which based on some constraints and some data sets, it really configures everything in a few seconds, all the routes that your
mhm,
technicians must take. Uh, yeah, so this is also part of AI.
mhm.
But when we are talking now, or the hype that's now that AI will take over everything and take over all the jobs, and you will get
Will it take
sentient
the
AI.
job?
I think we are far away
Yes,
from
I think so too. I
that
think
place.
I think it also comes with trust, right? I mean, companies that we're talking about right now with IFS, they didn't spend millions, sometimes hundreds of millions or whatever in combined to just scrap everyone and everything. I mean, I think there's going to be still a lot of, you have to verify what AI is doing, what is it saying, where is it reliable. But I
Yeah, well,
think I
I think it will quickly become a commodity. And so there was so much investment into it. Like Nvidia can't really produce as many GPUs as Microsoft and
I
Google
wish I
and
bought
Facebook and the
it.
guys need.
Honestly, yeah.
But it will soon be, I think, a commodity. Yeah, it will be everywhere, and yeah, companies must or should use it. But I think the big hype now is that if you're not an AI company, or you're not branding yourself as an AI company, you're left behind. Yeah.
Marcel.
So
Yeah, please
yeah,
finish.
yeah. I just wanted to give an example with Salesforce.
Mhm.
So Salesforce, a few months ago, everybody considered that they lost the AI game, because they were not mentioning AI that much. No? But
That's crazy,
the
right?
past
That's
few
crazy,
weeks,
right?
Mark
Yeah.
Benioff came off and said he wants to hire 1,000 salespeople to sell the Agent Force, which is their new AI solution. Now the
Right.
stock boomed. And it's like
Oh my god.
30% in the past 1 month. Huh? Just because they rebranded themselves as an AI company. Yeah? So I think there's this hype on the market that if you're not an AI company, you're losing out, because all your shareholders wants you to be an AI company, although most of your shareholders would have no idea what AI is and how it works, behind the scenes.
Mm.
If they knew, it's most of the times just a statistic system, just running some tokens and see what's uh,
Marcel, I feel like I can talk to
most probable, which token should sit to each other, and then it spits out a word, and you are amazed. But in the end, it's a statistic system, the way it's been built up so far. Yeah, so that's why I'm saying we are really far from having a sentient AI. I think
Mhm.
that should worry us, and that we will lose our jobs.
That's very
Yeah?
comforting to hear. I
But
think
everybody's trying to jump on this train, because it's
hmm,
a lot of money going into this space.
yeah. Yeah.
But how
Even
much value will be produced in the end out of this? Yeah, it's a question mark there. No
even
idea.
even crypto, like we talk about like the fringes, NFTs, they're jumping on AI. AI, as you said, is embedded everywhere in the technology sphere. I think rightly so, just because of I mean, I think ChatGPT, like, it's just that thing where it's so useful and it's behind the year, right? Literally, it's
Yeah.
ChatGPT's knowledge is capped a year behind. Like, and it's not allowed to access real time info. I've heard IFS's AI will access real time info, but I guess only
No, but
specific.
IFS AI, at least the agent, that the chatbot, is Azure Copilot. So it's not they haven't really built their own large language model.
Mhm.
It's just a box you get, you ask questions, it sends an API request to Azure, and then it gets a response back and shows it to the screen. At least this is how it works now. Yeah, so you can, if you go to the Microsoft Studio tools, you can even create in your own Azure environment like an Azure Copilot and give it, point it to some documents that it can read, yeah, like some SharePoint documents and so, and you can ask him questions, he will spit back the answers. Yeah,
I
so
think,
that's why I say it's
yeah, I
more
think,
of a commodity. Yeah, you can put it
yeah.
in any website, but it doesn't mean that you are an AI company.
No, no, no. So Marcel, I mean, I'm gonna just counterpoint this is that I think there is one benefit to this is if you have good data already within your system. I think that's what when I've been watching some of these demos and stuff. Um, to me, that's what's chucks out to me. It's what you get in, and I've said this previously. If you have really good data that you need help to sift through, AI will help you there. Like it
Yeah.
will give you insights there that maybe your analyst exporting out from IFS into a spreadsheet. I mean, by the way, amazing people like that could do that. But if there is a lot of data to process in different ways, maybe that AI will be able to help you. You know what I mean? If you have good data inside it, in my opinion, that's one of the
Yeah.
good things about it because it could really handle data, extremely well. So that is a good point, actually. I guess where do you see this evolving? I would like to see it spot basic data or anomalies in the system, because we see this all the time, like like not every company has their data clean anyway. I
Yeah.
mean, I think that would be a good way to kind of like even just diagnostics. I mean we're talking like what happens when again we can talk forever, right? Let's say a consultancy would diagnose a customer's existing system pre-upgrade, post uplift. They would do a crim scan. They would do, but I guess the data has always been left to the customer for obvious reasons, legal reasons, I guess. Handling your own. I think AI might, if the AI could somehow help with that and standardize it and even do free analytics, and I guess the responsibility goes, all right, AI will give you recommendations, but this is not our official one. This is the tool itself. I mean, I could just see it. I'm just talking things here, but I could just see applications of AI if used correctly that could
Yeah.
even help an implementation process, or a, a scan of the current data. Um, what
I
do you?
think I would be curious to see
Mm,
because in IFS Unleashed they talked a lot about, yeah, different scenarios where AI could be applicable to different industry. Yeah? So industry specific
mhm, mhm,
AI solutions. Yeah? And I would really be interested to see some showcases of that. I think there is potential, yeah,
mhm,
but somehow I think IFS must cut through the hype and show exactly what the potential is. Because when it comes to machine learning, it's very clear. All the algorithm they have in demand planner and in PSO, they were great. This is why the customers buy the software. If you're
mhm,
in the service market, you must have PSO if you're running with thousands of field service engineers.
mhm,
It's a no-brainer. You must have PSO, which comes embedded with machine learning, and that's, yeah, part of AI.
mhm. Yeah, because they're trying to process, yeah, a lot of calculations, I guess, all
Yeah,
at once.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah, you're right. I think it goes without saying, though. It's and I guess different consultants would come in for this purpose, even data analysis, like even your functional consultants will come in to do your diagnostics for you. Um, but to me, it's standardizing those processes seeing the improvement, because at the end of the day, I'm not sure if, well, are these AIs learning with through a central hub with IFS, all IFS customers with a certain industry? Are they going to be categorizing it that way? This is the thing that's going to be interesting, is if they do collect it not just from one single customer, right? If it's a collection of customers, would AI learn from all of them? Those are the
But I think that would be a legal problem, because the data
Mm,
that you have in an ERP system, to expose it to an AI as part of enriching your large language model, that could quickly become a
I
legal
see.
hassle.
And
Because you
also,
have prices, you have
I suppose this,
sensitive information there.
yeah, but I suppose this is why um nothing like the company data stops in the company, because but then you're gonna think like IFS has reached throughout all these. That'll be the perfect learning model if they had access to all of the data everywhere, right? For the specific industry. But I guess
Well, they
they
have access to all the IFS Cloud customer, which are hosted by IFS in their Azure tenant. They
yes, they do.
literally have access, but I'm
But
pretty sure
will
they
they
are legally binded not
not
to.
to do it? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. But
Oh,
speaking of AI, with
but
IFS Cloud,
yeah.
I think 1 year ago they released a new module, somehow similar to PSO, but it's called MSO, Manufacturing Scheduling Optimization. Yeah.
Right.
Targeting the manufacturing customers, which maybe have hundreds, thousands of shop orders,
Hmm.
and somebody in back office just planning all the shop orders on different machines. And now they created the manufacturing scheduling optimization, which is running still on the PSO engine, but with manufacturing data set.
Hmm.
And that's also interesting for manufacturing customers. So they are retiring the constraints-based scheduling, the CBS server,
Hmm.
and the new solution would be MSO. But of course, MSO means a new environment that's spun up. So it's not just IFS Cloud, but you also have a
Different instance.
PSO engine. So you need to pay for that environment as well. So costs could add up in the end, also with all of this
That this is
PSO,
your this
MSO
is your
solutions.
solution architect hat being put on various points of this in this stream. So a great demonstration there, Marcel. I think um, just to dig a little bit deeper, then it'll be interesting if customers could opt in to some sort of hive mind when it comes to improving the AI models. I wonder. I wonder if,
Would you, if you had your own company and you were a market leader
let's
in
say,
whatever,
so
would
so
you share
you
your data with IFS just to
sure.
enrich the IFS large language model so that they could make more money?
Maybe if I was a small, maybe if I was a small company that didn't have, if I was behind, I maybe would. You're right. I
Yeah,
think
but then maybe all the customers that are behind will share their data, and the large language model will not be
they're
that
really
great,
stupid.
because
Yeah,
only
really.
the
Yeah.
customers that are behind and expect
Well,
to
well,
move forwards.
I guess it's all about incentivization. If you,
Yeah,
I guess if they offer like 50% off subscription, um, for a limited data set, maybe something where it's generic for them, but it's running well. Again, I'm
I
just
think they should really come up with some concrete applications. Yeah, what would they do with that data? How would this you sharing your data would
Mhm.
help you get some return on your investment? Yeah, because at the end of the day, you are putting your data out there. Yeah, maybe losing your competitive advantage. Maybe what do you get in return?
Do you think do you think AI will be able to get rid of report writing at all?
With report designer, for sure not. I worked with report designer for quite some time. But one thing now, report designer is also embedded in IFS Cloud.
Mhm.
Yeah, so you
Yeah,
don't need with the newer
today.
versions.
Mhm.
I haven't seen that, but I heard that's true. But again, it's an additional SKU that you need to purchase. But yeah, now report designer being embedded as a different page in IFS Cloud platform, yeah, maybe they could do something there. Huh? But for sure, if it's operated as a standalone tool like IFS report designer, and sometimes you have issues just to connect to the IFS cloud system so that you can fetch some
Honestly,
report layouts. Yeah.
Honestly,
Even a smart mind behind a computer has difficulties in working with report designer. So
oh, don't, because
yeah, I won't
I'm used
see
to I'm
AI
used to,
doing that
yeah.
every.
I'm more used to crystal reports, and that's so nice. Like, I would say that's a good that's a good follow through. That's a good example to follow, right?
Yeah, yeah. I haven't worked with crystal reports.
Have you
Um,
not? Okay, don't, because
no,
then you will not you will you will woo the fact that you know it, and then you have to go to report designer.
no, but really,
Sorry, but
I like report designer, or at least I like the layout
mhm.
that come prepackaged in IFS Cloud. Because, for example, if you open a purchase order layout
Yeah,
and you see the myriad of different scenarios which are possible in the purchase order, so when this is populated, show these fields and so on,
right.
I really learned a lot of functional things just by working on a
Yeah,
purchase order report.
just
Yeah,
seeing
they
how
would
it.
say, why does this field show up? Please make it go away. And then you look at all the conditions that are there and you start
after
pulling your
after
hair out
after
because it's so
after
complex.
after Marcel disappears for one day, just learning why that field reappears. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
it's funny, man.
Yeah,
It's
but
funny.
it's nice because you have a good starting point. So everything that's possible to be shown on a layout with different conditions embedded with business logic that IFS built,
Hmm.
yeah, it's there in the report designer layout logic. Yeah,
Hmm.
I think it would be quite difficult to rebuild the same in Crystal Report. With Crystal Report, probably you could build something much more simpler,
Yeah,
tailored to what the customer needs. Yeah,
I
but
think.
if customers suddenly start using purchase order charges, they will not appear by default on the Crystal Report. You need to
Yeah, I think
enhance the report that you build first,
Yeah,
right?
no, absolutely. I think, like I said, I'm more used to Crystal, and I guess this is a
Yeah.
knowledge gap for me, the report designer. It's something that I'm gonna be probably doing pretty soon because the requests are piling up. So it's
Oh,
something
nice.
that I probably have to get my mind around.
Yeah, if you need
Uh,
help, let me know.
well, the funny
Yeah.
thing is, you're
Sometimes
not,
I view this work as an yeah, you
but,
need to be like an old Chinese guy that has no passion in life and
but,
just
but
doing
you're
changes
looking
in
at.
report design and
I
understanding
know,
the
but
logic.
now you're looking at me like I'm about to enter a world of fun, like, and that says everything. No, no, no. Marcel, no, this has been great. I think, is there any more that we could cap on, apart from the fact that I probably upset a few report designer people there. So apologies for that. But no, is there anything you wanna cap this on? Like, we've talked about stakeholders. We talked about.
Well, I feel like we could go on
We
over and
could
over.
actually, we can actually freaking go on forever. You're right. And I
Yeah.
actually feel like we
Maybe
should.
we do another one in a few months, huh? Once you
I would actually think so. I think this is fun. I think let's circle back after we do AI. How about that? But that will be quite some time for me yet. But if you learn anything new, let me know. If actually, in fairness, if you are starting to do some demos, if you encounter it, some AI use cases, that would be my request for you. Some standard AI use cases for the new updates. If you ever get there, I would watch them, and I'd love to talk about it.
okay. Yeah, let's see. If I ever get any requests from my customers to go that route, I will for sure.
Okay.
I'm always up to learning all the new things that come out with IFS Cloud, and AI being one of them. Yeah, I'm open. Although a bit reluctant to believe in all the hype, but yeah, I'm all in if I can prove my hypothesis wrong. Huh? Because
uh,
this is how you can improve. Huh? If you start with a baseline of perceptions and then you see that things in real life are different, yeah, then you can grow and yeah, embrace new perspectives on
my
life,
God.
on systems. Yeah.
Yeah, I like I said, I feel like we have covered so much today that have added value. Um, and thank you so much. I freaking enjoyed this so much.
Yeah,
Um,
me too. Thank you
man,
for the invitation.
no, are you serious? I feel like we just suddenly, like, the only way walked into each other's, if we were in a conference, we had a couple of beers, but we wouldn't actually talk about topics this deep. So this is the only way we're gonna be like
Yeah.
this. I've learned a lot. I've learned so much. And yeah, I thank you so much. And yeah, I'll be following you closely. And I really 100% want you back on so we could recap. And maybe if there's other things that you think about that would be good to talk about, yeah, just reach out, man. And I say the same for everybody who's watching this stream. If you've enjoyed it, please share it, subscribe. It's been an honest one. I'll be like, it's been one of the realest conversations I've had in IFS. Marcel, thank you so much, man, for
Yeah, it's
everything.
been a pleasure.
This is his YouTube as well. Again, just to say it out. Um, yeah, absolute pleasure, dude. I'll speak to you soon.
Yeah, same here. Thanks. Take care.